It's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been.
For being there with us on Unity 93.3 FM and of course Unity TV. It's lovely. There's a Tuesday morning, the 12th of September 2023. You're tuned to Unity FM. We're reaching you live from the hills of ZINARIYA, Jos Plateau State, Nigeria. Beatrice Adamu Iji is my name. Could be, if you like. That will be just fine with me. Okay, African unity is that one thing we must always work towards achieving. And so, let's work together and ensure that Africa is united. Of course, Plateau State is united. And thank you so much for being there. In the studio of Unity 93.3 FM this morning, and Unity TV is an in-house analyst and of course a political scientist. I'm talking about the man, Mr. Shaibu Uduro. Shaibu is in the studio. Shaibu, good morning.
Good morning, Colby. Good morning, viewer and listener. It's a pleasure being with you this beautiful Tuesday morning. We hope you're going to stay tuned as usual for another interesting interface. Hopefully, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. I have in the studio our guest for discussion today, but I want to apologize. Later on, I will introduce him and I'll let him say a very big good morning to all of you. But just sit back and enjoy this segment of Unity Train. And thank you so much. We have a big congratulations. Definitely. I really cannot wait. So, Shaibu, I'll let you begin to throw all the precisions, all the congratulations, and then, let's see what we have around to this group. I just want to let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, right. So why don't we begin to let the cat
out of the bag? Well, I think it's good news for Jos, for Plateau State, for Nigeria, and I think for the youth constituency, as a whole. You understand? Of course, one of our own. We were just talking before we came. We came on air that if young people begin to have opportunities to play leadership roles and all of that, I think it will all go well for the future of the country. And I think by just this, President Tinubu is making a statement that he is serious as far as youth inclusion is actually concerned. Of course, one of our own associate professor Salihu Ibrahim Dasuki Nekendi. That should ring a bell.
Very own here.
Yeah, our very own here. Younger brother to our chairman, Tijani Nekendi. He has been appointed special assistant to President Bola Tinubu, on ICT.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's it. And we say that's a huge one, isn't it? And like I did say, it's a statement that the president is actually serious as far as youth inclusion, is actually concerned. And if you ask me, Kobe, I would say that he's a square peg in a square hole, the right person for the job. If you look at his rich resume and all of that, you will recall that Dr. Salihu Nekende, this very young man we are talking about,
yes.
Actually obtained, a PhD from Brunel University in London at the age of 24. At that time, he was the only northerner at that age to have actually attained such an academic feat, to have attained, a PhD at the age of 24. In the whole of Northern Nigeria, he was the only one. And I think what can be better than that?
Yes.
And we must give it to our father, and of course, chairman of, is no longer the chairman. He has actually surrendered the fort to he has passed the baton now to Tijani Nekende, who is actually has taken over from him. But of course he's the founder of Unity FM and TV.
Minister,
former Minister of Communications Alhaji Salihu Dasuki Nekende, who actually gave the necessary support for this young man to be able to achieve such a feat. And this, as we speak, he's actually an associate professor in ICT and all of that. Started lecturing at AUN Yola, then of course Bayes University. And then, of course, later proceeded to, Harvard, and currently I think he teaches ICT, in Sheffield University in London. This is it. So he's coming all the way from there to actually take up this role, and we say that is, a step in the right direction. As far as youth inclusion,
yes,
is
now
concerned,
we can see it's not longer a thing of I will. It's something we're beginning to see it.
And I want to say here that you see, Tinubu is somebody who has always been, seen as having an uncanny ability, to scout for talent and things like that. And I think that, if you ask me, I would say that, nobody had to press any buttons or pull any strings, for Dr. Salihu to actually be scouted or identified and eventually or subsequently appointed, as a special assistant on ICT to the president and things like that. President Tinubu knows how to actually identify
the right people
and engage or utilize talent, and I think that. Dr. Salihu Desuki Nakande is a beneficiary of that particular gift of the president, and so we wish him well and we look forward to interesting days ahead. I think the fact that we're beginning to have such developments actually means that something good or big is actually coming, is actually on the way as far as the youth constituency in Nigeria is concerned. So congratulations, Associate Professor Salihu Desuki Nakande, on your well-deserved appointment as Special Assistant on ICT to President Bola Tinubu. We hope that he will be able to live up to his billing, as an ICT guru.
Oh, thank you once again, and that congratulations is coming from all of us, Unity 93.3 FM, of course, our listener too, our viewer. This congratulations is from all of us, and we say congratulations, and congratulations, Associate Prof. Now, we begin to look at issues as we have them around politics. And so we begin with this one. It's a big news, getting to know. This one is from Daily Trust, and it says, a tribunal sags a Plateau PDP senator, declares Tinubu's minister winner. It's something we never saw coming.
Definitely,
here it comes.
Definitely.
Well, what are the issues around this, Mr. Shaibu? And doctor, if you let me.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have a PhD. Unlike Dr. Salihu Nakandi, whom we've just congratulated. Well, we look forward to that. God willing, it's a matter of time, isn't it? Yeah, we've got that ambition. Well, the story could be, I think, is actually a pleasant or an unpleasant surprise.
Yes.
Depending on how we want to take it, and depending on who is actually the recipient, and or is affected by this particular development. Of course, former immediate past Governor Simon Lalong is currently the Minister of Labor and Employment, and of course, according to reports and of course the judgment of the National Assembly Elections Petitions Tribunal yesterday, he has actually been declared the valid winner of the 2023 senatorial election for Plateau South senatorial district. And like I did say, it's a story that is a pleasant surprise for his teaming supporters, as well as an unpleasant surprise for the teaming supporters of the embattled senator, of course, Air Vice Marshal Napoleon Bali. This is the issue. But of course, going by the judgment, or according to the judge, who delivered the judgment yesterday, the election of Air Vice Marshal Napoleon Bali actually had to be put aside or invalidated or nullified on grounds that the People's Democratic Party, which actually sponsored him as candidate in the election in 2023, actually had failed to comply with a valid court order to conduct a valid party congress to produce excos and things like that. And so as a result of that, the party is considered ordinarily ineligible to actually be able to sponsor or present candidates for elections and things like that, as a result of which all the votes secured by Air Vice Marshal Napoleon Bali can actually be considered null and void or wasted on grounds of that particular inability to comply by an earlier court judgment and things like that. In summary, this is actually the issue, but there's more to it, because I think that our listener and viewer would like to know what the whole background is, to this whole story, and other matters arising,
yes.
and all of that. With your permission, should
why not? Please, let's
okay,
have
you're my boss, so we've got to seek your permission to say things here. Well, in 2021, if you would recall, congresses were conducted to produce, executive officers for the PDP, but of course the congresses were disputed, right? Because there were, some stakeholders within the party who felt that they were not comfortable with the processes that actually threw up, Chris Hassan, as well as his other, subordinates as executive officers, of the PDP. Specifically, the likes of J.T. Hussaini and 11 other people decided to actually, take the PDP to court to challenge, the manner in which, the congresses were conducted. You understand? As a result of that, Justice SP Gang actually, ordered, the PDP to go back and conduct, a valid Congress to produce, a valid, executive officers and things like that. This is the issue. But rather than do that, according to reports, rather than go ahead and conduct, a valid Congress to produce, excos for the PDP went ahead, and nominated candidates for the local government elections, which took place on 9th of October 2021. When it became glaring, to the likes of Bitrus Kaze and other aggrieved members of the party that the PDP wasn't willing to, comply with that, court order to actually conduct a valid Congress, to produce excos for the PDP. They decided to petition the PLATEAU, the Plateau State, Independent Electoral Commission, to ensure that, the PDP was not actually allowed to partake or participate in the local government elections, scheduled for 9th October. It was on that ground that the PDP was excluded from the local government poll that took place on 9th October, 2021. This is the issue. Now, rather than probably retrace their steps and maybe, consider, conducting, a fresh Congress to produce, valid excos, the PDP decided again to approach another high court, to challenge the decision of Justice SP Gang. This is the issue. But, unfortunately for the PDP, then, of course, Justice Isha Kukunda, after scrutinizing the previous judgment of the court of first instance, decided to uphold or affirm the position of Justice SP Gang, and on that basis asked the PDP to go back and conduct a fresh Congress to produce valid excos for the PDP, and things like that. Again, the PDP, according to reports, the PDP did not actually do that. And then instead of doing that, they went ahead and approached the appeal court in order to challenge the decisions of the two judges, or specifically that of specifically Justice SP Gang and of course Justice Isha Kukunda. And of course, unfortunately for the PDP, the appeal court upheld the decisions of the other courts. You understand? Are still not satisfied. They decided to move further, so they went to the Supreme Court to challenge the decision of the appeal court, and all of that. But of course, the Supreme Court also dismissed the appeal on grounds of want of diligent prosecution, and all of that. I think in a nutshell, this is actually a background to the whole issue. And so yesterday, while delivering judgment, Justice Mahmoud Tukur actually did declare that the PDP had actually failed, to comply with, several orders, and all of that. And on that ground, the election of Air Vice Marshal Napoleon Bali is actually null and void, because the PDP ordinarily he was not qualified to even, enter into or participate in the 2023 election and all of that. That's actually according to the judge, according to the judgment. But of course, if you ask some PDP stakeholders, they might give you another version of the story, and all of that. But I have just given a background, as an analyst, who has a duty to, bring members of the public up to speed as far as some of these developments, are concerned. We might be considering the possibility of bringing on board maybe, an PDP stakeholder to share views or thoughts on the development and maybe tell us the PDP side of the story, and all of that. But what we have just said, or what I have just said, is actually based on the judgment yesterday, as well as what we have been able to gather, from reports, and all of that. This is the issue, and not just that. There is a similar story, having to do with, I think, Barikin Ladi Riyom, right, where the same Justice Mahmoud Tukur actually sacked, Peter Ibrahim Gendeng of the PDP, who was elected to represent, Riyom Barikin Ladi federal constituency, and then declared, from Cholam of the Labour Party, as winner of the election, and all of that. And the ground was same as that of, the PDP versus the APC in Plateau North, and all of that. The judge said the PDP did not obey, a valid court order to conduct, a valid Congress to produce exculpes for the PDP, as a result of which it could be concluded that the PDP did not have a valid structure, as a result of which, the election of, Gendeng Peter Ibrahim of the PDP could be nullified or declared null, and void. These are the issues. But of course, as you would expect, I'm sure the PDP will appeal the case, and then we take it from there. We see what happens, at the appeal court. And of course, it's within the right of the PDP to actually do that, and all of that. And I would like to caution that, I do know that naturally, supporters of, His Excellency Simon Lalong will want to celebrate. Supporters of Fong Cholam will want to celebrate, and they are doing that already. But I think we should do that with an air of caution, because the law is an ass, and it could take you unawares. Like you did say in your preamble, it's a surprise because we didn't see it coming. That is actually the law, right? That is actually the law. Gwani Muhammad Al-Kali, went to court to challenge the election of Honorable Musa Aga, who currently represents, Basa Just Not Federal constituency, on the same grounds. But of course, the judge ruled, the panel ruled that the issue of nomination is a pre-election matter, and all of that, and therefore ruled in favor of Musa Aga. This is the issue. And so you can see, it ordinarily should be a similar situation, and all of that, but the judgments are different, right? That is because the law, is always an ass, as lawyers would always say. So I think those who celebrate, the two judgments, you're real free to do that, but we should do that with some caution, with some decency, with some decorum, and all of that. And I will urge, Air Vice Marshal Napoleon Bali, as well as Gendeng Peter Ibrahim, of the PDP, to actually, handle the issue, as civilly as possible, as democratically as possible, and then, explore whatever legal means are, available, to them to see, what can come out of it.
Yes, of course. I would have loved we continue still on politics. This one is contained in Vanguard. It says, expelling Wike from PDP is a task that must be done. Atiku's camp. But we have this one. This one has to do with foreign affairs there. It says the nation, this one is from the nation, it says UAE lifts visa restrictions on Nigerians. And these are the two headlines. I feel, why not just look around and then see what issues. So it's left to you.
You're putting me on a hot seat. You're giving me the two headlines, at the same time. Am I doing a final year project or something? I don't know. If I'm doing a final year project, please let me know so that we know what to do.
Mr. Doro.
Yes.
We're just talking politics here.
Yes.
From the Plateau.
Yeah, we are.
Right. So I want us to just go politics again.
Okay. And then
looking at the Wikis and Atiku's issue, and then why not? And then away from politics, then we now look at that which has to do with the yes. So why not?
Okay, that's fine. No
is that still like a final year project?
As the court, as the judge pleases.
After all,
aren't you? All right. I think we did say something on the Wike PDP issue some times ago, and the issue is still lingering, isn't it?
Recently Wike was like he has not seen anyone who
could expel him
who would dare to expel him.
And if you ask me, Kulbi, I would say it's arrogant to say that. If you ask me, I like I did say, when we were discussing the PDP Wike issue, PDP, I think I doff my hat for him, for the good job he's been able to do with his mandate, in Rivers State when he held sway for 8 years as governor, of that state. He was able to turn a lot of things around and all of that, but again, I have an axe to grind with Wike when it comes to some of his public demeanor, some of his public utterances. I think some of the things he says are rather unguarded and could be considered arrogant, or unbecoming, of an elder statesman, and all of that. You can't say that, no, I mean. Except probably here in this part of the world where party supremacy is not respected. Ordinarily, you can't say that nobody in a party, can expel you. Even President Bola Tinubu can be expelled by the PDP if he's found guilty of, if he's found guilty of anything that could warrant that. You understand? That is the issue. So I think it's out of place to say that nobody can expel you from a party and things like. But what are the issues? Of course, like I've always said, Tinubu. Wike is a very controversial political figure. If you ask me, I would say he's probably our own Nigerian version of Donald Trump, always looking for trouble here and there, and all of that. First of all, it was between him and Amechi, who made him chief of staff and later, facilitated his appointment in 2011 as Minister of State for Education. They ended up, falling apart, and even though then, according to Wike, it was because, Rotimi Amechi had decided to dump the PDP for the APC and all of that. That is one. And then number two, it was between him and former governor of I think Bayelsa State, who, according to Wike, refused to support his presidential ambition and things like that. Number two. Number three, it was between him and Atiku Abubakar and by extension the PDP. Yes. Even though you could say that, his indignation, his complaint then was actually justified, right? At some point, in the build-up to the 2023 presidential election, Tinubu, Nyesom Wike had nurtured a presidential ambition. But of course, he lost out in the primaries, right? He did lose out in the primaries. And then, behind the scene, he probably had nurtured the ambition that, he probably had thought that alternatively, he could settle for the vice presidency, and all of that, which also, ended up falling through. This is the issue. And I think, those two developments seem to have actually, triggered a negative sentiment in Wike and all of that. This is the issue. But of course, after all those, those ambitions had failed, Tinubu had actually advised the PDP to make sure that the national chairman of the PDP actually came from the southern part of the country, since the presidential flag bearer was actually from the north, just so that the party could be given some semblance of balance, and so that other parts of the country could be given a sense of belonging, which was actually right. This is the issue. But of course, the PDP threw Wike's caution to the wind and decided to go ahead and actually appoint or elect Senator Yocha Ayu from Benue State as chairman of the PDP. And since then, Tinubu had declared a war against the PDP, and all of that. And I think that was what culminated, in the fiasco, the embarrassing defeat of the PDP in the presidential election in Rivers State, and all of that. This is the issue, and so you can actually see the dramas and all of that. At some point, just lately, Nyesom Wike's name appeared on the on the campaign council of two political parties, right, for the elections taking place, I think, in Bayelsa State, right? The campaign council had, the APC had Tinubu, Nyesom Wike, as a member. And then, the campaign council of the PDP also had, the same Nyesom Wike, as a member. This is the issue. And so questions were being asked as to, where exactly, Wike's loyalty actually lies. This is the issue, and all of that. And so I think these controversies, these dramas, these controversial utterances by Nyesom Wike and all of that might have informed the decision, by the PDP to just get rid of him and probably, have peace. This is the issue. Don't forget that David Umahi actually cited Nyesom Wike as his reason for leaving the PDP, right? Yusuf Matawale of Zamfara, former governor of Zamfara, also cited the same Nyesom Wike as his reason for leaving the PDP. Ben Ayade, Professor Ben Ayade of Cross Rivers, also cited the same Nyesom Wike, as his reason for leaving the PDP. Right, this is the issue, and so the PDP says that Nyesom Wike has now become the proverbial tortoise that actually features in virtually every backstory, and all of that. It's a funny one, isn't it?
Okay.
But of course, I think that Nyesom Wike should actually watch his demeanor, right? Yeah, it's not a bad thing that he's in the APC and all of that, but I think that as a matter of principle, as a matter of ideology, he should respect the party that has brought him to the limelight.
How about the issue of visa?
Yeah, the visa. Yeah, because I think I was
yes.
Maybe in a minute or two.
Yes.
Of course, the visa issue. I think we could say it's one of President Tinubu's biggest diplomatic feat or achievement, right? Of course, if you will recall, if our viewer and listener will recall, in 2022, October precisely, the United Arab Emirates actually imposed a visa ban on Nigeria and 19 other, African countries, Ghana, Burundi, Congo, all of these countries, including Nigeria and all of that. And the reason they gave then was that citizens of these 20 countries, first of all, have been guilty of illegal migration, to United Arab Emirates, number one, and then number two, they've also been guilty of visa renewal issues, right? Sometimes after exhausting their residence permits and all of that, they don't actually make efforts to renew it. As a result of that, the UAE actually had hundreds or maybe thousands of Africans who were illegal residents in the UAE and all of that. For that reason, they decided to, as a disciplinary measure, impose visa ban on these 20 countries and by extension their citizens and all of that. But of course, lately, I think on Saturday, during an interactive session between President Tinubu and the Prime Minister of the UAE, Mohammed Al Nahyan, Tinubu decided to bring up the issue, and actually, crave the indulgence of the UAE. He actually appealed to the Prime Minister to see what he could do to actually reverse the visa ban and all of that, so that flight operations between Nigeria and UAE could resume, and then so that also proper diplomatic ties between the two countries could be restored and all of that. I think at the moment we can leave it at that, because I can see you're signaling me and all of that. Yeah, we can leave it at that. But I think finally, I think there's a need for African countries, right? Because at the end of the day, I think Africans should be tired of the embarrassing treatments they have suffered in the hands of other countries. Dubai, the UAE, how old is Dubai compared to Nigeria? Like I said yesterday, it took just $30 billion to build this country in a matter of 20 years. How old is Nigeria? What is Nigeria doing? I always say this, the respectability of a country is not dependent on its size and huge population and so-called potentials or oil money and all of that. It depends on your ability to fix your situations, your internal issues. I think if Nigeria was doing fine economically and politically, I think it will go a long way in checkmating some of the embarrassing treatments our citizens have been subjected to over time by other countries.
Oh, thank you very much, Doro. Our viewer and our listener, we have come to the end of this segment of Unity Trend. I beg you to stay tuned. We'll go on a short break, and we come back. We'll continue at the other end of it. Stay tuned.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was seeing things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here.
Thank you so much for staying tuned on Unity 93.3 FM and Unity TV. Don't forget, today is Tuesday, 12th of September 2023. Beatrice Adamoishi is my name, and I've been in the studio with an in-house analyst, Mr. Shaibu Doro, our political scientist. Shaibu, good morning once again.
Thank you once again, Kobe. Good morning, viewer and listener.
Oh, thank you very much. Don't forget, it is no longer an issue of debate that no nation can live in total isolation. Any attempt to do that would be an effort to hinder national development. And today we'll be discussing foreign investment and national development. Yes, of course, we have in the studio this morning, and we're so blessed, we're so happy already to have Dr. Ismail Bello Ismand, a public affairs analyst, and from the Department of Economics, Bauchi State University. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's good to have you.
It is a great pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much. We want to, there is no nation that can live by itself all alone without having to do with other nations. People are beginning to say that it's a global village. And today we just want to look at issues around investment and national development. When we say foreign investment, Doctor, what is that?
When we say foreign investment, means the substantial amount of capital inflows that may cross borders, and these flows must be legally recognized investments that will be permanent, and the aim of transferring them is to invest in profitable ventures or other co-projects that may help other nationalities. And capital direct investment can be either sourced by the government or by firms or other international organizations. So foreign direct investment is very important because it is necessary for the developing countries to have to invest huge amount of money in certain co-projects that will serve as the foundations of the industrial sectors. So there are, when we say industrial sector, it has some sub-sectors. So many countries in the world, the relationship between developing countries and the developed country already is very crucial, because you will understand that. Let me just cite example like Nigeria being the largest economy in the whole of Africa in terms of population. In terms of population, yes. You can see how the economy is by since 1960 to date. You can understand that there are a lot of economic challenges, and you can understand that the national values and how our people have been oriented has changed from the way they're supposed to be. Because if you will understand, if you will study the history, you will discover that Nigeria was an agrarian economy. We depend on agriculture then, but after the commercial discovery of the crude oil in the late 70s, we laid too much emphasis on the exports of crude oil to other countries in the world. So foreign direct investment, we have been looking for investment. If you look at it, we have multinational companies. They are a part of this foreign direct investment because they are owned by they have foreign owners, and they invested in this in Nigeria. So what happened is that we are not able to solve the problem of managing these foreign investment in Nigeria, because the ownership of these multinational corporations was handled almost more than 80% by the foreigners. So our local industries, manufacturing sectors, we are exposed to intensive competition, and we are not able to compete well with the foreign companies. Yeah, because we lack technology, we lack a lot of things, and we have to spend a lot of billions of dollars in order to support our industrial sector. That is why you can see our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, went to India and joined this G20 summit. This summit is very important, because you will understand that these 20 countries that attended the summit, if you look at the global order, you will understand they went there because there are three major global challenges. The first one, before the inception of the G20 summit, there was a financial crisis globally in 2008, I think. That time you will understand that what caused the major problem was because some of the banks that are in the developed nations, especially US and UK and other countries, but they were spending money cross-border investment. But what happened most in the United States of America, they were spending money on these estate and housing projects. You will discover that majority of people, when there is an outflow of capital, they will use collateral to collect that money as loan. So they were giving loans, they have been collecting loan, investing in projects that they have over anticipated or speculated too much profit. They went ahead to just build or construct estate that could not be that could not give profit in the short term. So by the time they wanted the banks to get the returns, they could not get the profit they anticipated. So that is why these people, they package the loans again and also sold the estate. They mortgage the houses to other people. You see, this foreign direct investment, they have become problem. It led to global financial crisis. That shows that the richest people were able to use their collateral, then we are overvalued. And this overvaluation of this collateral gave them opportunity to get this capital and invest in other foreign countries. When they invested there, they were not able to make profit. So that is the major challenges, and that is why this summit is being held, or it has been held in India.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much. You mentioned for many years Nigeria have had its economic challenges. So what would you say are these challenges that Nigeria have had over the years economically?
There are too many, but fundamentally we can say we don't have efficient industrial base. We don't produce what we're supposed to produce. Our people, when we look at it, historically will discover that Nigeria requires foreign investment for three reasons. One, to support their industries. Two, in order to be able to partake in global economic development, because we have the resources, we have the market, we have everything we require. That we want to change from over depending on our developed nations, because we must depend on one another. But the mutual dependence does not mean we'll be over-dependent, in the sense that we'll be exporting, our export will compose more of more raw materials. You can see, for instance, Nigeria is an oil exporting country, but we cannot even refine our oil. So you can see we are exporting more of raw material that has no added value, and we are importing if we are importing more of what manufactured good and even agricultural produce. That shows that there is problem fundamentally because our industries, they're supposed to have they're supposed to be efficient, could not, because there are core important projects that we are not in Nigeria. One, industrial sector requires huge investment in electricity because they need energy and
constant power sector.
Constant power sector, but we don't have sufficient electricity.
Okay.
Two, we need other research centers, like raw material development centers, industrial research agencies that will help. Three, we have to manage our economy by knowing the type of foreign investment in our country. So the foreign investment, the foreign direct investment that was coming into this country, they did not give, they did not invest where we will be reaping the benefit easily. So we remain dependent on the foreign countries, especially developing countries. So our currency remain very weak. The value, the value of our currency remain weak if you compare it with other foreign currency that we dependent on, because we are producing less of manufactured goods and we are importing more than what we are exporting in terms of manufactured goods.
This is a very big challenge there.
Yes.
Now, there is hardly any media conversation, whether locally or internationally, that you don't hear the issues of national development, and everyone on air, it's about national development. Doctor, what do you consider to us in Nigeria is national development?
National development is to be self-reliant. I know Nigerians are resilient. They are hardworking people. We have passed through different and several challenges. You could see Nigeria, if you can see it, it was ruled by, we were under military rule. The way we are and the way our values are, our cultures. You will understand that our belief system has changed because sometimes we don't do things voluntarily. We develop a culture that will be forced before we follow the law. That is why our national development has a lot of issues. You can see we don't have, we have not developed human capital based on the nature of our educational system. You can see now, for instance, we are in a globalized world. And you can see that now we are in the digital, on the digital economic era. But our national development now, we don't see how we will tap this benefit. You will understand that we're supposed to utilize this opportunity, not to replace our physical economy, because actually those countries that are depending on this digital economy, they are advanced countries. They will just only use data. They will just use information and create wealth. But in Nigeria now, our level, our national development has not reached that level because of our systems, because of our political institutions, because of our economic institutions. You could see that the level of corruption, the way we think about things, the way we want to create wealth, our manners, you can see everything is still in primitive stage. That is why when there is government policies, they're supposed to be in harmony with our understanding. What we mean is that we're supposed to have the knowledge of why we'll adopt certain policy. But all the government policies, they are good when at their inception, but the implementation fail because the people that for which the policies was initiated, they will not be able to understand it, and they will not be able to handle it the way they will achieve their development. That is why we are facing a lot of problems, and you can see the whole of the economy now is not growing as anticipated. So we need foreign direct investment. We need to join the world order by tapping on the digital economy. But you know, Nigeria, even now, it is under what we call, we have closed borders. While we know already we are ECOWAS, we are among the ECOWAS member states.
Yes.
So you will see there is nowhere here. There is this African Continental Free Trade Area.
Agreement.
We have agreed there, and now we are joining. We are on. We were in BRICS agreement. We are now joining another G20 summit. So what we will think if we want to achieve the real check, we will ask ourselves if we join G20, all those countries see they are the ones that can produce more than 85% of gross domestic product globally, and these countries if you compare their level in terms of economic development and other dimensions, you will discover that they are far ahead of us.
Yes.
So what can we contribute and how will we benefit from such from joining such economic integration?
Yes.
You will discover that if we will not handle these issues carefully, it is a very good idea. They will join them in order to derive benefit from them by getting foreign direct investment. But if you look at it, it's just like someone who is joining a race. You have a bicycle, the other person having motorcycle, the other is driving a car.
If then you're joining.
Yeah, if you say you want to
one will be faster.
Which one will be faster? You will discover that obviously
you'll be left behind in some way.
I will lag behind.
Yes.
So, but the way our president was able to convince them and they decided to invest in Nigeria, actually it will be very helpful to the economy, and it will enhance our productivity in the sense that the investment, if they invest in the energy, they said, and they will invest in our petrochemical industries, and also they will invest in fertilizer. These are core projects that are very necessary for the development of the economy. So if they will invest in those sectors, and the investment will not be redirected to another country, or will not be used.
I would have loved to talk about corruption, but Dora is here. He'll be. Well, in 2 minutes, do you see corruption as one thing that could jeopardize these efforts to bringing in direct foreign investment?
Of course, the corruption is the major, is the primary problem of the whole things. As I've explained to you, our policy document, when you read them, they will convey, they are very good document. But the problem is the implementation. What brought about that? Because of it is because of the what? Corruption. You cannot
the level of
the level of corruption is very high, because that is why you see we have all the resources we need within Nigeria, but still the level of poverty, the level of unemployment, inflation is increasing. It's very high. So corruption is the main problem. You can see there is no trust in all public-owned institutions. You will discover that in the private sector, things are flourishing. But when you look at the public sector, you will discover that there is no trust between. There is no trust. You will discover that in terms of corruption, many people, when you go to the ICPC, EFCs, and other, you will discover that most of the chief executives of public corporations are indicted. That means corruption is the major problem. That is why we are saying that even if they invest billions of dollars in Nigerian economy, if corruption
is not dealt with,
yes, there will be problem. That is why we are emphasizing that it must be, the investment must be direct investment, not cross-border investment. When you invested within the country and the firm just came in and they invest, instead of investing directly into the core project like energy, a petrochemical, or a refinery, they are investing their money in the banking sector. If they invest there, something will happen, when there will be another shock. That is why I cited US problem, because they will use their estate as collateral to collect that money again. That is what happened in the US that caused global financial crisis. That global financial crisis, that is what they are afraid of, even in the summit, because they know the smaller economics, the small economies of the world, their currencies, like say Naira and other currencies, we are pegging them to other major currencies of the world. Like us, like our economy, we peg them to dollar. We consider dollar as the stick to measure our value. So if there is financial crisis in the US or UK or other developed nations, it will affect the entire developing countries. And Nigeria will suffer more, because Nigeria imports more than other countries. When you see the volume of the import, and they import all their goods in dollars. And if, for instance, now we enter into agreement with, let's say, India, and India, for instance, now based on our bilateral agreement, they will buy our export, that means crude oil in their currency.
Their national currency.
Their national
not
currency,
in dollars.
Not in dollars. Based on their in our bilateral relationship, there will be problem. The problem that will come out there is that if we export our crude oil based on their prices, using their currency, they are forgetting about dollar because we want to swap away from that dollar. We think they are dominating us, they are causing problem on us. What will happen is that there will be fluctuation between our currency and the rupee there, the Indian currency.
Another issue.
So this issue, later on when we want to see the value of our crudes, when we compare it to dollar, we'll discover that we are selling at a price less than what we're supposed to have sold in dollar. And at the same time, that amount will not increase our foreign reserves. Because even these G20 summit nations, or the BRICS we have joined, if they are trying just to dodge from dollar, we in Nigeria, if we dodge from that and we join them, there will be too much problem. So we are looking for financial and foreign direct investment. If they invest in their local currencies, not in dollars, there will be a problem because we will not determine our value. Since our naira is not stable, it is not stable. When we say it is not stable, we mean that the foreign countries, they are demanding less of our naira. Because in India, in China, when they price their good, they will price either in dollars or their local currency. So when we are selling our good in their own currency, not dollars or even pound sterling, our reserve there will be in pound sterling, dollars, Dutch mark, and euros, because these are the currencies, hard currencies that will depend on our economy. So if this corruption is not tackled very well, if they invest and they fail to invest, for instance, they will come here and overvalue their projects. They will, instead of spending all the money, the foreign direct, the money, the capital that flowed into the country, they spend like say 50% or spend 30%, and they spend the rest, or they save others to save our naira. There will be problem because in the long run, we must refund the money. If it is not loan, it is an investment. There will be no profit. Because if you invest less, you reap less result.
Okay, we have just 5 minutes to be out of this segment.
Definitely.
Doro?
I've been itching because Dr. Ismail is raising a whole lot of issues and all of that. I am tempted to ask you this, Doctor. You did raise interesting issues about some of the systemic issues that have to be handled, like corruption, which you said could actually serve as a disincentive to, potential investors and things like that. Yes. But I do also know that, and this is from an expert perspective. I've listened to economists. They have said that, some of these multinational corporations also do have their own problems. Sometimes, for example, when they invest in countries, they sort of engage in sort of malpractices. Sometimes they, repatriate, a large percentage of the profits to their countries, leaving, very little within the host economy. Sometimes they dodge tax payments and things like that. These countries that President Tinubu has said he has actually deals with, Germany, India, and of course South Korea. What would you advise them to do? How would you want them to behave if eventually they actually come to Nigeria to invest? What would you love to see?
Of course, they should invest in Nigeria because they are looking for market. That is why I discussed on this digital and physical economy. Now we are on the digital economy. Their technology has gone far. It has made the whole world as a global village. So if we join them there, that is why we want to develop our local policies there. How to use our labor force so that our youth will be employed in order to create physical materials, commodities, that being gross domestic product. Not just to use internet and use information, and they will be just reaping our own resources. We will be exporting raw materials to them, and they will be enjoying more than we are enjoying. No, we're supposed to know that yes, even under this digital economy that we are in, we're supposed to know that there are a physical sector of the economy.
Okay.
The food we need, the cars we need, the houses we need, the type of education we need.
The toothpick we need.
The toothpick we need. We're supposed to produce it domestically.
Right.
So if they will invest in energy to serve as factor of production, they will invest in petrochemical industries or fertilizer to serve as inputs to other sectors of the economy. Like fertilizer is very important to the for the farmers in this country.
Yes.
So if they will invest in Nigeria and ensure that yes, this investment will remain here permanently, and the stake will own maybe 50-50 or more than 50, and at the same time they will manage part of the investment. I will manage the substantial part of the investment ourselves to see what is happening. And you can see, like in the petroleum industry, they're supposed to invest and help to revive our refineries. So if they do it like this, actually we will benefit, we reap more than just calculating foreign investment in terms of monetary terms, saying they will invest. That means it is just like stock exchange. They are just buying shares. And if these countries, you see, like India, China, and this Japan, they have already developed. You can see we are importing from them because of the fact that their currency, the value of the currency. We can import goods from UK and US because when you are exchanging your naira to dollar or pound sterling, you will discover that your money is almost, the value is lost. So you will go to these countries and import goods, and you come to Nigeria and make profit. Okay. So what I expect to see is that when they are investing in this country, we're supposed to, the government or the public sector should ensure that it is tackling corruption. Secondly, you will ensure that there will be peace. There will be level of security will be very formidable, so that there will be no challenges, because they will not invest in an environment where there is insecurity. Thirdly, our internal policies, like our fiscal and monetary policies, they must be in harmony. There is no way we'll just bring in a policy, collect investment based on different agreements, and the investment will come and challenge our policies, our domestic policies, because if there will be competition and we will be exposed. As I have said, if we have closed our borders and we are now entering pact agreement with other international bodies, so how do you think this thing will go in agreement? And if we close one part of the economy, we say we are using only seaport, we are closing land. That means the continental issue is arriving. But we know, due to the challenges that we are facing, we are being surrounded by Chad and Niger and other countries, that we think that there are a lot of security challenges, issues. So that is why we must handle security issues carefully, so that we manage our economy peacefully.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Doctor. On this note, the end of this segment has come. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, it's going to be that time with which you will begin to call, and then we get all your opinions, of course. So stay tuned, our listener, and of course, our viewer. We'll be right back.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion? How was your...
I was the head boy in my primary school, senior prefect and best graduating student in my secondary school, but drug abuse almost ruined my life.
I was on an average of 2 grams of cocaine per day.
I was taking 8 ampoules of pentazosine daily.
European shisha, cocaine.
I became a user, a dealer, and a gangster.
I saw other users drowning. I knew I didn't want to be like them, but I was already trapped.
My family disowned me.
My employment was terminated.
I sold my car, sold my house. I'll go out well dressed and return shoeless, shirtless in exchange for drugs.
I was saying things that were not real, and I once stabbed myself because I felt something crawling under my skin.
I contacted NDLEA and started therapy.
I spent 3 months in therapy.
I spent 8 months.
It's easy to relapse, but your mind has to be stronger than the cravings.
Drugs does not love you. You are not the one using drugs. Drugs are the one using you. Say no to drug abuse.
Pay attention, it starts from the foundation. Everybody needs somebody. You turn a blind eye and care nothing less. Say it's just business, all about the money. You are so unbothered as long as they pay. Say it's just business, all about the money. You know they're on a fast lane, but you've got business to run. So you look away the other way.
It concerns you. It kill love, it kill dreams. It land people for jail. War against drug abuse. Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me.
Oh, thank you so much for staying tuned to Unity 93.3 FM and Unity TV. It's good to have you there. Beatrice Adamu remains my name, and I've been in the studio this morning, lovely Tuesday morning, the 12th of September 2023, with Mr. Shuaibu Duru, and of course I have as a guest with whom we've discussed issues around direct foreign investment and national development, Dr. Bello Usman from the Department of Economics, Bauchi State University here in Nigeria. Of course, we're reaching you live from the hills of ZINARIYA, Jos Plateau State, Nigeria. It promises to remain very, very interesting, because this is that segment of Unity Trend that our viewer and our listener will call, and then we get your own inputs on the topic of discussion today. If you want to be a part of it, you can call. Our studio line remains 070-3235-3315. When you call, you just tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and then we get your inputs on the discussions this morning. And if you want to be with us live, you can go to our Facebook page, Unity FM Radio, FM/TV Jos. You'll be live with us, and if you do that, you throw your comments, we'll read it at the appropriate time. And for now, let's put on our studio line, and of course, Dr. Foreign Investment.
Yes.
Yeah, talking about this, and also talking about corruption.
Yes.
Yeah, before we begin to receive calls, corruption. How fast do you think we have to deal with corruption if we get it? Some would say if Nigeria gets it right, the entire Africa will get it right. So, do you see corruption being a problem in some other countries of Africa?
Yes, corruption is there. Corruption is part of human being. When yes,
I love it.
It is, of course, now you must be selfish.
Yeah.
And the basis of corruption is...
I love this, doctor.
Of course. It is psychological. You cannot think somebody who is a competition brings about sometimes corruptions. And you understand that when someone is too greedy, he will be corrupt. If someone does not know what to do, he can abuse opportunities.
Doctor, are you saying there is positive and negative corruption, or is...
No, corruption remains corruption.
Whether negative or positive.
Yes, but yes, corruption is bad for the national development.
Okay, corruption is bad for national
development. It's bad entirely. We cannot say there is good part of the corruption. But what I'm saying is that there must be law that will control it.
All right.
Whoever is handling public institutions must be very transparent. He must be accountable for what he's doing, especially funds.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let's begin to receive our calls. If you want to do that, 070-3235-3315 is the line to join us. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, thank you very much. Who is on the line?
It's Pastor Eric from Bethel.
Pastor Eric, it's good to have you, please. You have a minute.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And having listened to the people in the studio there,
yes,
I tell you, bringing foreign investors into our country is a good step in a good direction.
Okay.
But my most challenge is that the past president make all the effort to bring foreign investors into the country. It did not work. Reason being that they did not treat the reality before the journeys of all such. The issue of insecurity, the issue of mismanagement of our economy that has been bastardized, institutions that is not functioning. The government need to look into this.
Okay.
Agencies of government that is not really doing what they're supposed to do, like you mentioned, the EFCC, ICPC, and all the rest of them. But there is a problem within our system in the country.
Okay.
So leadership should look seriously into these things and solve the problem first.
All right.
We had Malamis of those days say that they are profiling those that have been listed even by the UAE that have sponsored terrorism in the country. So we could not hear about these things again. Fight for these things. I've not heard Mr. President said about fighting corruption in all of his speech. And many people around his seat today have questionable characters and the lifestyle that have dubiously manipulated the economy of this country. So we need serious, truthful people to mount the seat of this country leadership and help Nigeria to come out of quagmires that we are going through. Thank you very much, and I call viewers.
Thank you very much, Pastor Eric, calling from Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria, in Rayfield, to be specific. Vital points there. Hello.
Hey, hello, good morning.
Good morning, it's good to have you.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, my name is Suleiman. I'm calling you from Lasisi.
Suleiman, you're calling us from Lasisi in Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. You're welcome.
Definitely. We are the guest has already said it, but what I will advise them is, why is it that, for example, now you see the former administration that is collecting money,
okay,
because they do something that is clear to the public. Why is it that our politics makers, or what should I call our accountant, or is it the people, somebody like that? Why is it that they're supposed to have an association so that they will be advising the government on this type of collecting money without doing anything? Apart from that, my question is that, why do you think that, for example, now, and for foreign investors to release money to the country where we don't see anything because of some of our leaders have been corrupted? So I want more economic on that thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sule. Do stay tuned. At the appropriate time, Doctor will respond to your questions. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, our uncle.
Oh, thank you very much for calling. Who's on the line this morning?
Thank you. I'm Musa Aike Kano, calling you from Angorogo. My regards to everybody in the studio.
Thank you very much.
You see, the situation we are talking about, investors coming into Nigeria. We should not forget that we are in a global environment where one can just Google your country and your economic situation, which we Nigerians we are being ranked as 100 plus in terms of economic conducive ground. You see, this Dubai we continue talking about that our president has gone to.
Yes.
Have you seen any Dubai coming to Nigeria and say, come and invest in our country? Create a enabling environment. create institution that is continuity, avoidance of any politician tempering to it, that have an environment that will secure somebody's money. Nobody can come and put his money where he is not sure of what is happening to him. We Nigerians, the question we should be asking ourselves, are we investing in our country? When we invest in our country, other people will see that yes, when they bring it to their property, it should be secured. That is what we are saying. There should be continuity. Let's create a leveling environment. You see this issue of corruption, we must do away from it. Look at what is happening. So today you are telling me that the whole 17 states in Nigeria has been bundled with governors without even having an election. The local government that me and you should start from is nothing to talk all about. But let's build an institution that is devoid of any interference from any politician. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you very much. Doctor, you see, we have a community of intelligent listeners and viewers. Each time they call, you really don't want to, cut them, because they make you vital points. Thank you so much, our listener and our callers, of course. Hello?
Good morning, Mr. Kurdu.
Oh, thank you very much.
And the guest in the studio.
Thank you very much.
This is Adeomi calling from Bonchi Road.
It's been a while, Adeomi.
Thank you. God continue to bless you people. I've been trying to call through, but sometimes network.
Yes, amen, amen.
God continue to bless you people. God will move the country forward.
Amen.
By God's grace.
Amen.
You see, my take is this. We have been investing for long. Nigerians have been investing. Well, it is not only investing, but there is no considerable that I think there should be. I think if you know to invest, you demanded considerable investment of time and effort. That's my major take in it. Because government do not always look at, imagine our refinery. Haven't we invested? But what is the state of our refinery today? These are some of the things we are facing. We invest huge amount of money in a particular area or approach. So if there would be no considerable time and effort, that effort will be frustrated by a particular set of people. And my question is this, please. Don't you think that the issue of insecurity needs to be shackled to us? We appreciate the president for doing all this. But don't you think it's better we tackle the issue of insecurity in this nation?
Thank you.
Before we can even start to have a convincing atmosphere for investment. You understand what I'm saying? So it's that time we do the needful. And sorry, please, let me just cut it short. Let the government invest locally. If they invest locally in Nigerian people, some businesses are lying fallow in this country.
Okay.
For God's sake, they need to be invested upon so that it can make them more successful.
All right.
We don't need to be going to foreign land, and we need to even come up on our own.
All right.
And when we build on what we have, at least we will progress. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. One question, take home here is, let's provide a conducive environment, enabling environment. Has Dubai ever come to Nigeria?
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
It's pathetic once again.
Yeah. You're welcome.
There was a time that a system was created to checkmate how money loot flights to the country.
Okay.
BVN. And suddenly, those systems are now being taken away. Have you made calls recently and see drop calls and the messages sent are not getting to the end to the person that's supposed to receive it? Have you checked our electricity not functioning? A system needs to be put to checkmate corruption that is going on around us. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, Pastor Eric, calling back just still to emphasize on vital points, very, very important issues raised by an intelligent listener. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, thank you. Who is on the line this morning?
I'm Kabir from Delimi calling.
Kabir, it's good to have you from Delimi, Jos Plateau, Nigeria. Okay.
I think in terms of this production, we are just deceiving ourselves.
Okay.
Because all this country, we have so many professors in the higher institution. We have to start from somewhere. At least, what will they innovate?
gather themselves. The government should give them the enable environment so that they will do something. We have to start from somewhere, not begging on foreigners to come and invest in our own country. At least we have to start from somewhere. Somewhere with our own local things. Do something good before we call somebody to come and invest in our country. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you very much for calling. I think it's about time we let Mr. Doro to take us into the war of the comments on Facebook page. If you don't mind, let's pick this one and then you begin to do that. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Kogi.
Good morning, sir. Who is on the line?
This is Yakubu Sali calling from Nepazaria Road.
Yakubu, it's been a very long time, I think, but you're welcome.
Yes, I've been around. Just measure of the work.
It's okay then. So, in a minute.
I need to say good morning to the guests in the house.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Honestly speaking, the guests have spoken very well.
All right.
And the issue of foreign investors, honestly, is a welcome development.
Okay.
As far as we are going to ensure a conducive environment and security. So my own advice is that, please, whenever the government want to do something, they should try and execute and do exactly what they tell the people they want to do. So that they will not do the different thing. Just, I was listening to this foreign media yesterday.
Yes.
In Jigawa, can you imagine, almost 10,000 hectares was collected from the farmers. And they promised to farm sugarcane. So later they started farming the same thing. Those farmers were farming, that is granite and other things. So now the farmers are complaining and they are the laborers there. Can you imagine, they said they do work from 6 to 5 in the evening and they are being paid 700 naira per day. In this situation, can you imagine? So as if we are even going backward instead of moving forward.
Of course. Okay,
so I trust this Mr. President. I know I have confidence in him. But please, he should try and support the young farmers like us.
Okay.
So that in terms of security and in terms of at least even these loans, so that we make sure that we farm, we be productive. Thank you, Mr. Doro, and the guests. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Young farmer there. I think I will belong there to that club, young farmer. All right.
That's where the money is now. That's the honeypot now.
Thank you.
Yes. We have these messages from these usual, followers of ours, and of course some other new names which have popped up. Aminu Abdullah Shuaibu says, good morning, Kulbi and Shuaibu Doro. Thank God for another blessed day. I'm watching you live from Rivers and Cementi about the judgment of yesterday. If you are not comfortable with the final judgment of the High Court, you can appeal. Best wishes to you all. Thank you. Ismail Isa says, good morning, Unity crew and your guest. Good morning, sir. He says good morning, sir, to you,
yes,
Dr. Ismail. We sincerely congratulate the young technocrat on ICT, Dr. Salihu Dasuki, who has been appointed by His Excellency, Mr. President. Really, what does he say? Okay, it says, really, to build a nation is not a one-day job, but bringing such technocrat will yield a positive result. Perhaps peace and convenient environment is one of the major capital for investment. So the FG should do everything possible to eradicate insecurity in the country. God bless you all. We say amen to that.
Amen.
Good morning, Kulbi, Shuaibu Doro, and the guest, Dr. Malam Ismail. We always appreciate your good work. Please keep it up. Bless you all and your families. May Allah... says, okay, may God grant us peace throughout the world.
Amen.
And sustainable development. And God bless Nigeria and Plateau State. Have a great day. From Murtala Yahyame Igia and Shanu. Asok Bagum Francis. Good morning, Unity family. It's very unfortunate that politicians and leaders don't respect and obey court judgments or orders, only to be found wanting or disappointed at the sunset. It's very heartbreaking. It's a very heartbreaking incident where joyous moment will turn into mourning just because of unresolved misunderstandings. Let there be internal democracy. Mohammed Tajuddin says, good morning, gentlemen in the studio. A very good economic analysis from the guest, and we enjoyed it. About the election tribunal, I hope people will stop the hypocrisy of praising the judiciary when cases favor them and castigating the same judiciary when the results of the same cases are not in their favor. We should remember that judges give their verdicts based on the evidence presented to them, and there is always a window of appeal. Thank you all, Muhammad Tajuddin from Naraguta, and I must say that's a good point, isn't it?
Yes,
so these are the messages we have for now.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a caller.
Yeah, my name is Comrade Master Patrick Okoro. I'm calling from Obro GC School here in Angulo. Good morning. Thank God that today is Tuesday. Well, the president has tried, at least the United Arab Emirates, that just lifted the ban on Nigerian issue of this and the rest. Yes. At least the Fly Emirates start operating, because when they were flying Nigeria locally, the system was very, very cut. And when they said 8 a.m., their 8 a.m. is saying, they said 10 a.m., 10 a.m. At least many airlines were learning from them. And the question now is to come back home as a Nigerian. You should try as much as possible and make sure security is there. Because the president is scouting for investors. No investor will come to a place where he or she is in sort of 24/7 security. And it is left for the all 11 security agencies we have in Nigeria to put their house in order and make sure that, in as much as the president is scouting for investors, they should keep our own house here in order. Well, I extend our heartfelt sympathy to the people of Morocco. See what happened there. It is sometimes that only God in heaven knows how something happened in Africa. So we pray for those people that lost. And I think it's a lesson to learn. You see, one of the richest man there in that country donated his own hotel for people to come and stay. Free of charge. Everything is free. That is a lesson for we Nigerians, people from Nigeria, to learn from us. And to Akintola Williams, the world-renowned accountant in Nigeria, at least the stock exchange expert in Nigeria. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Oh, thank you very much. Doctor, you may begin to respond to some of these.
Will you permit me in just
why
a
not?
second?
Please go on.
We have this, I don't want to, there are messages we have to take really because
of course, you're welcome.
The substance. This is from Charity Harley. She says, good morning, everyone. Congratulations to our very own Minister Lalong. May God continue to give our leaders wisdom to lead us aright. Great work. Thank you for the prayer. Rocket. Real Pocket Monet says, good morning, Unity FM. I hope we are fine. And then Abdul Basir Adamu says, good morning. And then M.A. Gunda, good morning, presenter. He's saying hi to you, Mr. Presenter.
Thank you.
Says, good morning, Mr. Presenter. Keep up the good work. And Kamal Inua, congratulations to my ex-governor. Good morning.
Oh, thank you. Doctor, now it's all yours to respond.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Based on what I have learned from their comments, you will discover that they laid much emphasis on the corruption.
Yeah.
As I've told you, there is no positive aspect of corruption. And I can confirm to you that there is no consider there is no corruption. But the only things there is transparency and accountability. When you are caught, you will be dealt with in accordance with the law of the land. So, but in Nigeria, there are some people that are like super citizens, and actually they can violate the law and they will go scot-free. So that is our major problem. And there is one person that just that suggested that we should just depend on our internal resources, and we in his view, he does not think that we need that foreign investment. Actually, those countries, the developed countries, cannot invest where there is insecurity, there is poor level of infrastructure, and other factors that are lost there. But if we are lucky, they will invest in our country is very important, because if there is no investment, because our manufacturing sector is fragile, and the industrial sector entirely is not productive efficiently, so we need sufficient capital. With that sufficient, we need substantial amount of money. When you are investing on roads, railways, petrochemical factory, or whatever you want to invest, you are investing in billions. You need capital that you need capital in billions of dollars, and at the same time, they will wait for more than 10 to 20 years before you make profit.
Okay, Doctor, sorry for interrupting. What's your final word? We have just 2 minutes to be out of here for this edition. So what's your final word, please?
Okay. My final word is the advice. I will advise the federal government to urge Nigerians to respect their values. And we also advise the federal government and the state government governors to ensure that when this investment is brought to Nigeria, they will try and invest in their state so that they will bring this project closer to their people, because national development cannot be achieved if the citizens are not productive.
Only if the citizens are productive. Final words, please.
Well, let's give peace a chance. Congratulations to, like I did say earlier, those who came out trumps in the tribunals. Congratulations to them. Those who are aggrieved should explore the available legal options to channel their grievances and all of that, so that Plateau, Nigeria can be the better for it.
Oh, thank you very much, guest in the studio this morning, and of course our dear listener and viewer. It has been